why I believe men are just giving up in society in 2024 and why they're just dropping out and they're not doing anything productive. And this has to do with a lot of reasons.
This is too fast,
I'm trying to
honestly.
think of the first reason I could go into, but
I don't think this too
what it really comes
fast,
down
bro.
to is ownership. So when men don't really feel like they can have ownership of anything, especially in today's society in America, with how high inflation is, how corporate price
Yeah,
gouging
yeah, they feel like that because they got low self-esteem, self-hate, and they're negative people overall.
is right now, how rents have just skyrocketed through the roof. Um, Not to mention the quality of women here in America is just piss poor. Like these women are just
Well, first of all, I mean, you're talking about opposite gender. Opposite gender ain't got nothing to do with your situation. If you're struggling in the States, why are you thinking about the opposite gender? You think the opposite gender cares about your situation? That's not even an American thing, that's a worldwide thing. They don't care about your opposite gender do not care about your situation. So you're not even supposed to be looking at opposite gender when you're a guy who is struggling already. They're not gonna save you,
so many of
man.
them are just mentally damaged, and it's not all of them, but
Men are mentally damaged too.
there are just not a lot of good women to pick from who are faithful and who are willing
Of course,
to
there's not a lot of them, and you're talking about America.
settle down and get married. Um, it's really bleak out here for men, and it just my job that I'm currently working at just reinforces the fact as to why men are just dropping out of society and just going their own way. Every time I see my paycheck at the end of the 2 weeks, which is not much, it's like $1,200 or $1,300. I look at the amount of taxes that just get taken out of my paycheck every single 2 weeks, and I'm just like in awe of how much the government is taking from us. It's just you know you have tax.
This is why I told guys 4 or 5 years ago to get your online business started. I pleaded with my subscribers, get your online business started, get your online business started. Now is the time to do it. Back in 2020, bro, because I could see that being taxed at source, one of the reasons why is being taxed at source is not the way to be. I mean, you're being taxed at source. They're taking money out your paycheck. I'm not doing that. I'm not being taxed at source. I haven't paid tax in months. Why? Because as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you don't have to pay taxes every 2 weeks like you do. You're paying taxes once, maybe twice a year, okay? And you can even pay it late. I did that. And, I was a bit apprehensive. Actually, I forgot. But now that I know that you can pay the tax late and nothing happens, I might just do that again. I mean, as long as you file it on time. I didn't file it late. I paid it late. But yeah, I mean, I paid it like a month late and it only cost me like I think like £40 or something. I don't know. I don't even remember. But it cost me some money, but I paid my tax late and that's what I did. It's like getting a interest-free loan compared to being a salaried employee. Imagine if you only had to pay tax once a year. You had all that money, you know. Now, obviously, if you can flip that money, if you know how to flip your money over, see, having a side hustle is good, right? But I would say have an online business, man. I mean, I told people, I pleaded with my audience because I knew that things were going to get tougher. Remember, I predicted the economic downturn that will happen after the pandemic. I told guy I predicted a lot of things. I also predicted that fast food work would be pushed heavily, and we see now that every single fast food chain is expanding. And of course, they're going to introduce robots eventually to do those jobs. They're already doing it, but this is the thing. I mean, people who refuse to listen to me, are they really faring well? And the answer is no, they're not. Because I've been telling people the truth for many years now. And I do it because I believe that if you've got information that can be useful to people, share it, man. Why keep it to yourself? Share it.
taxation upon taxation upon taxation. You have government taxing, you have the stores taxing, there's sales tax, you have all these different other kinds of taxes. Um, it's just men are seeing this and they're just saying, you know what? I'm never going to be able to afford anything. I'm never going to be able to buy a house with these wages, with the way hyperinflation is right now.
Yeah, that's that self-hate. That's that negativity, defeatism. I don't look at things like that.
Things just going up so much faster than my wages. I'm never going to be able to have a family. Like, generations past have always done in the 70s, 80s, 60s, 50s, and
Yeah, and
beyond.
and and, and that was different, bro. They had a family because they believe things that will get better. We know now things aren't getting better. I mean, humans are finished on this earth anyway. I still got to make another video talking about the plan for the elite's plan for the future of humanity. I think that's what I'm gonna call it, the elite's plan for the future of humanity. See, I still got videos on this channel to drop. The channel is not gone. The channel is still here, and I'm still gonna do the EDP documentary when it comes out as well.
Um, I'm never going to be able
Humanity
to
is
have anything
finished
of
on this
value, a nice
planet,
car, a
man.
nice
Stop
anything.
thinking like a boomer.
The most these jobs pay are the bare minimum, and they barely cover the food, rent, and bills.
Yeah,
That
because that's what your skills command. You know, that's what your skills command, the bare minimum wage.
at the end of the month, they barely cover food, rent, and bills. So it's just men are looking at this and they're just saying, you know what, fuck it, I'm just going to live off Social Security or government benefits and
Look
start
at
a
that,
side hustle. Excuse me,
becoming
start a side
degenerate,
hustle or just drop out completely and just play video games because
becoming a
they see that
degenerate, bro.
no
Like,
matter how much they work, they can't get ahead because the more you're punished in America. Because the thing is, you're punished in
you
America.
see how much you work, you can't get ahead. That's not true, bro. You never work 17-hour days. You never work 120 hours a week, even 80 hours a week. I don't think you ever worked it, bro. A lot of you guys, you don't even have health problems. I got health problems, and I still outwork and outfight a lot of you punks. A lot of you guys just, the reason why you're giving up is because it's easy to give up. Doomerism is easy. And you know what's easier? Jumping out the window. And that's why a lot of men do it. We've seen guys, I've spoken about guys who've done it. They've jumped out the window. I mean, some people don't jump out the window. Some people jump out off a bridge like Etika. You know, remember that Nintendo dork called Etika, right? He jumped off Brooklyn Bridge because easy, right? You don't have to face your problem. Just jump out. That's what a lot of guys do. Doomerism is just a lesser version of that. It's taking the easy way out. That's what it is. I know the psychology of these guys. I know exactly because I've been talking about these guys for over half a decade. I know exactly how they think.
For working more. The more you work, the more the government takes out of your taxes, out of your paychecks. The more government takes the taxes out of your paychecks, and the more you owe at tax time. So you're literally punished in America for working more, not less.
But
You're
you
you're
still got more money overall, bro. That's a weak argument.
rewarded for working less. Okay, because the government takes less taxes, and you get a tax return at the end of the year. If you work more, you get more taxes taken out of your paychecks, and you have to pay at the end of the year. And it's just not worth it. These jobs are not worth it. Men are seeing that they're giving their
These
life.
jobs ain't worth it, but yet you're over 30 years old and you're still working them. Bro, I was in my early 20s when I figured out that this job shit ain't gonna work for me and I became an entrepreneur. Like, that's your own fault, man. You're in the States. You're in the States. You guys are in the States and you're still crying about job this, job that. Just become an entrepreneur, man. Stop crying on the internet. You're destroying. What you trying to achieve with this anyway? You guys are destroying yourself. This is self-sabotage, you know? It's like when Dan Pena said you commit acts of self-sabotage because you don't believe you deserve it. That's the real root. And that's the major difference between me and these guys. I always believe I deserve a life of luxury. You know, deep down, you don't believe you deserve success. I'm the opposite. I know I deserve success. That's the fundamental difference between me and these guys. And you guys have to understand that. The fundamental difference is the fact that I know I deserve success. I know I deserve the riches. I don't just dream about it or anything like that. I know I deserve it. These guys know that they don't deserve it, and that's why they're finished.
Away 10, 12, 13, even maybe more hours a day working these jobs, and they're barely getting anything out of it. And there are also very few
Right?
options
It
for
take a
men.
long time to, bro. I've been hustling for a long time, and I'm still nowhere near where I want to be. There's no such thing as an overnight success. It takes a long time Don't be a wishy-washy. I've spoken about these wishy-washy type dudes on the internet. They're wishy-washy. They can't go from job to one job to the next. I've been doing the same thing for like what, since pretty much. I mean, I've had a few businesses here and there, but they've been pretty much in the same. I mean, they're pretty much all the same. Um, and I've been doing that for 7 years, 8 years now? So, and I'm still nowhere near I want to be. An overnight success, there's no overnight success. It takes 10 years. It takes 10 years to see success. How many guys have stuck at a craft for 10 years, right? It was Jeff Bezos that said that all overnight success take 10 years. I think it was him that said it, but he may not have been the first one to say it, but that's the reality, man. It's not easy. It takes a long time to become successful. Oh, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. If you feel something ain't worth it, don't do it then.
And as far as how to get ahead in the society, they can go back to school, they can get themselves into debt, right? And hopefully maybe they can come out on top and get a job after that. But again, with the way this economy is, these jobs are asking for 3 to 5 years of entry level experience for a minimum wage job, for an entry level job. A lot of them are asking for bachelor's degrees. A lot of them are asking for they have all these ridiculous requirements, and they have.
Why you don't have a bachelor's? Like, why you don't have any skills at your age? I thought you were like 26, 27. I think you're like 33, 34 years old. You're nowhere near, just coming out, of high school or coming out of university, college. I mean, you've got, why are you in the position that you're in? You shouldn't be in that position. And you're crying about, like, you need to take a look at yourself.
Thousands of people applying to these same jobs. So they go on Indeed and they get discouraged because they see how many people are applying to these jobs. They're applying day in, day out, and they're getting rejected, just like
So
I am.
what's the solution? What's the solution? I know the solution. I told you already, but let's see if you can say it.
I'm getting rejected from all these jobs day in and day out. Doesn't matter how many jobs I apply to. I always find a rejection email. Um, I
I
always
was
find a
tired of rejection emails. That's why I became an entrepreneur.
rejection letter, I should say, when I go into my email. And it's really discouraging for men. Society right now doesn't have a lot to offer for men. I mean, society in America, they really
It
has a
doesn't have a lot to offer for men. That's true. I mean,
bias towards men.
that's
Really,
why
this
men are
this deep
leaving
rooted hatred
the
towards
Western
men,
world.
where we're the enemy. We just need to shut up and be grateful for what we have. We're not allowed to complain. We're not allowed to talk about these problems. And so men are just thinking, well, I'm not getting anything out of this in this society. Okay, I'm not. What am I working for? I can't even afford to pay rent for my own apartment. I have to live with roommates, and a lot of these men have to live with roommates, and it's just like they're seeing this. They're like, well, I have to live with a bunch of other people. I can't afford to rent on my own because rent prices are too high. They've skyrocketed. I can't afford to
I
have.
mean, rent prices weren't even that high back when. I mean, they've gone up a lot now, but I mean, they were pretty reasonable before the pandemic. I mean, they were not low, but they were okay. It's just since the pandemic, they've gone up high. But at the end of the day, I mean, there's other options. There's other options if you've set yourself up correctly. A lot of guys will benefit from my channel. Imagine I had a big audience back in 2020. I would have helped thousands of guys, but the problem is YouTube suppresses my channel and promotes a bunch of clowns like the Sidemen and the Beta Squad and Mr. Beast. And half of those guys are either P3DOs, or SAers. I mean, just look at the news that's come out recently.
Kids. I can't afford a house. I can't afford another car. I can barely afford my bills and my rent to put gas in my tank. So they're like, why am I? Men are thinking, why am I doing this? I'm just gonna lie flat, like the Chinese are doing, like the lie flat movement. I can't remember the exact word for it, but doing exactly what
Like flat like the Chinese, bro. That's funny.
America, what a lot of the people in Chinese are doing, a lot of the men in China are
Taiping.
doing, is just lying flat and giving up, and I don't blame them. I don't blame them for that.
You don't blame them because you want to do it yourself. I blame them because at the end of the day, you're destroying yourself. You don't win by doing that. You just become a slave to this the establishment. You're a slave to the establishment if you're relying on them for a payroll.
Things are just really, really bad out here. Um, so that's another reason why men are giving up. But they like again, they see these wages, they see how much they're getting paid, and they know they're never going to get ahead. Which is also why a lot of
They know they're never gonna get ahead because they're defeated. They got a defeatist mindset. How do you know you're never gonna get ahead? You think I like my life? No, I don't. I never did. I never liked my life at all, especially in this country. But that doesn't mean I know I'm not gonna get ahead. That means that that doesn't make any difference to me. Because if you believe that you're worth it, then you believe that you're worth it no matter what. If you don't believe you're worth it, then that's your mentality. All comes down to how you interpret things. It all comes down to your perspective. It all comes down to your self-esteem at the end of the day, how you view yourself.
men are opting to move to other countries, like I've talked about before, move abroad. Maybe some are going back to school and trying to get into a remote position, move abroad and work over there and live a cheaper, happier, healthier life. Maybe find a wife abroad. Some because the women are generally more feminine, they're more caring, they have more traditional values.
You can go overseas, but most guys ain't staying out there because they ain't set up their life correctly to stay out there in these countries. What's the point going overseas if you're just gonna come back to the nightmare again? I saw one guy on YouTube, he's like, F it, I'm moving to Thailand, English guy. He was like, F it, I'm moving to Thailand. And I saw the thumbnail of his video, his recent video, and I could tell by the grey background, this guy's back in the UK. And yeah, I clicked on it and I knew he's back in the UK. I think he was out there for a few months. He said, I'm moving to Thailand. The guy could only stay out there for a few months. This whole thing that's going on right now about going overseas, these guys ain't got online businesses. They ain't got remote jobs. They're talking about I'm going overseas. You're just gonna end up running back home with your tail between your legs. Thinking about overseas is when you're in a position to do so. I mean, you can have a target to go overseas, nothing wrong with that, but the main thing is putting yourself in a position that you can stay out there because things are not getting easier to go overseas. Yet once you make it over there and you can stay out there long term, it's easier. But that's the hard part is staying out there long term. The hard part is not going out there. The hard part is staying out there long term.
And they want to be wives and they want to have a family. So men are seeing this and they're saying, wow, they're seeing, a lot of men are seeing that the grass really is greener this time on the other side. And I know it's not always greener, but in a lot of these countries it is. They have their ups and downs, they have their disadvantages, but at the end of the day, a lot of these men see opportunities in different countries, where they can have a house, they can have a family, they can have a wife, they can have a better future. So a lot of these men are opting to work too as well and invest their money and move abroad, and they're not staying in America and working these jobs because they don't see any point. There's really nothing for men here in America anymore. And even 3-4 years ago, if you were to ask me, I would say there's still hope. But in 2024, it's not looking good. Even 3 years ago, I was making good money. I was making 27, 28, and now the jobs are just are paying almost nothing, and the cost of living has tripled. From 2020. It's insane. So
I warn guys about the fallout from this pandemic. I warn guys about it. I pleaded with, you can go back and check the live streams. I pleaded with my audience, but people don't want to listen. People want to think that everything's gonna be the same. And notice how after that, these adult content platform with the letters OF exploded, right? Because chicks are broke, they're broke as a joke. And you know what they do when they go broke? They take their clothes off, which is really disgusting, but happens all around the world, in Thailand, in Colombia, they commit illicit acts for money because they're broke, and this is the issue that we have. People just can't afford it because they haven't set themselves up. You say you were making good money in 2021. Where did the money go? Where did the money go, man? That's the thing. For me personally, I don't spend any money. I don't spend no money except for essentials. I don't. Because for me, I don't need it. I need my money for when I'm living luxury so that I can just blow my money. Yeah, I'm gonna blow money overseas. I'm gonna blow money overseas because I don't want to spend money in this country. Because when you're spending money in these countries, you're not getting the bang for your buck that you're getting overseas. So you might as well not spend any money here and use that money overseas. You get way more for your money anyway.
Men are seeing this again, and they're choosing to opt out. They're choosing to go their own way. Some of them are choosing to go abroad. Some of them are choosing to live a very, very basic minimalistic lifestyle, and I don't fault them for that. um, and I guess I just kind of, I got on this rant.
Yeah, I don't fault men for going abroad. I don't fault men for living minimalism. But what I fault men for is taking that easy road of doomerism. You know, that's what I'm against. I'm against doomerism. I'm against this idea that, oh, and I'm somebody who believes the world is finished. I'm somebody that believes, that the end of the world is coming soon. So for me to not be a doomer, that shows you how low down these guys are because I still think about positive things. I still think that I've got a lot of gas left in the tank. I still think that I've got a lot of living left. Even though I believe it's the end of the world, just because I believe it's the end of the world doesn't mean that there's nothing left to be enjoyed in the world. Of course, but it takes money. Everything takes money. That's why I told people, I pleaded with people years back, focus on the money, focus on the money, focus on the money. Because it takes money to live a good life, as much as people want to cry and say, oh, money ain't everything and all that. No, money is it's almost everything if you don't have enough money to retire. Now, when you've got enough money to retire at a good standard of living, then yeah, money becomes less important because then it's just about, you know, can I get a Ferrari or do I have to drive a Ford or who cares at the end of the day? That's a different thing. But when it comes to being able to retire, it comes to being able to retire at a good standard. If you haven't got enough money to do that, money is of incredible importance. And people who dismiss money are the kind of people who are going to lead you to a life of despair. I don't dismiss money. I'll never dismiss money because I realize that it's essential. People want to work limited hours from a 5-day work week to a 4-day work week. You know, they want to they want to do anything the easy way. The Gen Z millennials always looking for the easy way, the easy way, the easy way. It's not easy, it's hard. But let me tell you something. If you want to live just a basic, decent quality of life, especially overseas, it's easy. It's easy. What's hard is living in luxury. What's hard is living, a life of a high standard. That's hard because it costs a lot of money. But we have a limited amount of time to secure our retirement. It's go time. It's go time for people out there. A lot of you guys are healthy, you don't have health problems. You're lucky you don't have health problems. What happens if a health problem hits you guys? You're finished, you're toast. That's the issue. That's the major issue, man. I got a lot to say, but I'm not gonna say too much.
Because I just kind of had a long day at work and I'm exhausted, and I just, every day I wake up and I just think of like,
We're all
one
tired,
more day.
man.
I
We're
just gotta.
all tired. We're all tired at the end of the day. I got health issues that make me more tired, but we're all tired at the end of the day. But it's when you ain't got nothing to live for, you ain't got nothing to shoot for. If you don't believe that you're gonna ever live a good life, why would you bother? But I know I'm gonna live a good life, so that's what keep me motivated.
I gotta get myself up and do it. And I'm really just working for food and shelter. And
Yeah,
it's
that
very
I'm
hard
working for food and shelter. That's why you're not motivated. That's why you're not motivated because your mentality doesn't tell you that I'm gonna be living a great life one day. I'm gonna have a condo by the beach with a jacuzzi on the balcony. I'm gonna eat whatever I want. I'm gonna go wherever I want. I'm gonna have a personal driver, personal assistant, maybe even a personal chef. You know, opposite gender, I won't be complaining about the opposite gender on the internet. I'll be able to get what I want and I'll be living a life of luxury. See, that's the life that a lot of men want, that most men want, right? And if you believe you're not gonna have it, well, you're not gonna be motivated, are you?
hard for me, and I know it's very hard for a lot of men to get motivated. Um, when they know they're working a job just for just for food and shelter, and they can't afford any of
Yeah,
the
because you're only thinking about the now, you're not thinking about the future.
nicer things in life, the finer things in life. Um, so I mean, I think that's really it. These are all the reasons. You know, and not, I guess not to mention that a lot of men haven't gone, you know, or only graduated with a high school education, so they're not really tempted to go into these universities and get into debt, because they know a lot of their friends have went to these universities, have got degrees, have gotten into the debt.
But
And
you guys aren't getting ahead. You, you're not going to university. You've got those extra years where you should be working and honing your skills, but you're not getting ahead. You know, the thing is that 18, 19, 20, 21 year olds are very dumb. So, and I've been there, I've been there. I was a moron, especially if you don't have like good educational background. If you went to a poor school, you grew up in an area that wasn't very affluent. Typically, you're not going to be a hard worker when you're young. You're not going to be, you're not really going to be focused when you're young. I didn't get focused until, my mid 20s. Before that, I wasn't focused on nothing. Because you're young and you're dumb and you're a moron. That's what you are when you're young. I've been there. But that mentality has to change because I would already be living a great life if I didn't have that mentality in my late teens and early 20s.
they have so much debt that they're not able to pay it off. So men are really lost in society today for these reasons.
And then lost.
And I don't think it's going to get better in America. I talk about this strongly because I believe this strongly. I strongly believe that if you want to have a better life, it's not going to be in America. It's going to be in a different country. And I understand. I know a lot of people in the comments have said it's bad over there too. But the value of the American dollar, excuse me, the value of the American dollar goes a lot farther in other countries. And in America, we're in so much debt right now that
That's the main reason to go over there. For me, it's the sun, the sea, and the sand. It's the lifestyle options. You get to live because you get more bang for your buck. You get to live where you want to live. You get to live how you want to live. You know, they don't have a housing crisis in these countries. In fact, they've overbuilt. If you look at Southeast Asia, they've overbuilt. In the sense of there's too many properties, there's not enough people to fill them. It's the opposite in many first world developed nations. So the issues are the problems are different.
your money is it's just play money. It's just monopoly money. It barely buys anything anymore. So men are just opting out. They're fed up with it. You know, they're fed up with the misandry. They're fed up with this man-hating society we live in America, where men are just supposed to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and keep working, even though we're not working for anything. Um, and they're tired of it, man.
You got to work for something. I'm working for something. I'm working for something, and sometimes I think, what am I still doing here? It's easier for me to jump on a plane. Yeah, again, taking the easy road. It's easy for me to jump on a plane. I could say, you know what, I'm done with it. Jump on a plane and go jet off and live out there. But then I'm like, well, I still got things I need to do here first. And it's discipline. I have to be disciplined at the end of the day. Of course, there's always things that you want, but discipline. What they say that, what's the saying? All good things come to those who wait, something like that. Have to wait for the right time and the right moment.
And I don't blame them. So I'm gonna end this video here. It's just kind of a rant. Um, but these are the reasons why I honestly believe that why men are lost today in 2024 and why they're dropping out more than ever. So if you like this video, feel free to give it a like, comment down.
Yeah, deconstructing narcissism. I want a response. Okay, be a be a brave man. Fortune favors the brave. Okay, be a brave man and give me a response video. Let's have this discussion here. Let's talk about men's issues, like real men, not this coward stuff that people do and just pretend like, oh, the unreal man doesn't exist. We're just gonna ignore him. Ignoring the unreal man ain't gonna fix the situation. It's much better to come out and say your piece. So yeah, it's unreal man here, True with a massive. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. If you aren't already, make sure to hit that notification bell so you're informed every time I upload a new video.